All right, you got the floor.
I literally have the floor. You are
literally
correct,
have.
sir.
On the ground
So,
here.
and so, sir, your reaction to this verdict?
My reaction to the verdict and the whole trial is, quite frankly, I'm very proud of the system and the way it worked. I think even though we're very disappointed in the verdict and we do intend to file a vigorous appeal, but that comes well after sentencing before Judge Woodlock. We got a lot of work between now and then. I think it's incredible when you think about the work that this jury put into this verdict, this decision. Literally 3 weeks out of their lives, almost a week of deliberation. The running of a trial of this magnitude in the course of the pandemic, I think, showed a lot of people that it can be done. Judge Woodlock implemented some very, very intense and rigid safety precautions and pulled it off without a hitch. So all in all, I'm very pleased with the way the system worked. Obviously disappointed with the verdict, and that's what we have appeals courts for, and that's where we'll be heading.
21 to 24, counsel, that's a pretty strong verdict against a public official that people are disappointed with.
Is that a statement or a question?
It's a question.
Well, I mean, you're entitled to that question. I think it's pretty apparent. 21 of 24 verdicts, yeah.
Kevin, can you say what he faces for a sentence under the federal sentencing guidelines?
No, that's very complicated. Obviously, you have to do the pre-sentence interview. You have to do the pre-sentence report to the court. You have a sentencing hearing with the court, and then you...
No, I understand, but what about just, I mean, obviously no prior record.
Well,
I mean,
you know,
just
you could,
based on the guidelines alone.
you can calculate that pretty simply,
But
I would
what are you thinking?
imagine.
What's the
I'm
minimum?
not thinking anything until we get in front of the judge for sentencing, and we have a chance to review the pre-sentence report, see what probation calculates, and see what the government is recommending.
Kevin, do you anticipate any of your grounds for appeal will relate to the pandemic procedures that were in place? Did that impact getting a fair trial?
You know, that's an interesting question. I did object to it. I did raise the issue. On balance, like I said, other than the stupid masks and the plexiglass, I think it went off quite well. So, but that's an issue that a lot of courts all over the country are considering. Yep.
Is there anything you can say to any former constituents who would be disappointed to hear this verdict?
Well, obviously there's a new mayor in town, so I'm sure that they're hopefully happy with him. And you know, politics is a developing, very fluid situation. We'll see who the next mayor is.
Can you say anything about how Jasiel took the verdict?
Jasiel has been nothing but a gentleman, very stoic, strong family support throughout. He's been very, very proactive in his defense. Needless to say, I don't even want to say disappointed. I think he's somewhat stunned in the sense that, I mean, I'll give you an example. Count A, we showed that the check received from Cabaceres for $6,000 was deposited the next day, and then it went out for expenses for the statewide developers. So I don't know how they could find him guilty of stealing that $6,000, but you know, they obviously did. We respect the jury verdict, but that's what we have appeals courts for.
Kevin, do you feel like you were constrained at all in your ability to do your job by the fact that you're wearing a mask and not able to move as much around the courtroom?
I'm a mover. I do obviously feel that it was somewhat restrictive, and the mask I don't like, obviously. But again, it's a social issue that we're dealing with. I don't know how much longer we're going to have to deal with it, but I was constrained, yes, and that has been an issue. The judge recognized, and he ruled on it.
Any particular grounds for appeals that come to mind right now that you can share?
You know, I think that we've got a number of issues, whether it be the instructions to the jury, the evidentiary objections that were taken in the course of the trial. Yeah, there's a number of issues for appeal.
Kevin, do you think the sentencing will be harsher because he was an elected official and many of these...
Well, that comes with the sentencing guidelines. There is a provision that says that, you know, if a person has an abuse of trust, and that's something that the judge would consider in sentencing.
Do you think that there'll be any leniency because of his age and lack of a record?
All of that, that's a good question. All of that is something that's considered by the judge. The age of the person, the lack of the record of the person, family support, type of person they are, what they've done with their life, and comparison with the allegations of the conviction and the elements of the offense. Yeah.
Why didn't you have Jasiel defend himself on the stand?
Next question.
Is he giving a bracelet now? He continues bail. Are there any?
Oh yeah, that's pretty standard. Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, he's not a flight risk. He's certainly, shown up in court every day. So the judge recognized that, as did the U.S. attorney. So he is being fitted for monitor. Yep.
You mentioned the $6,000 check from David Cabaceras. Are there any other charges that you were sure are wrongful?
Any other charges? What?
That you wanted to discuss as being?
No, I'll just reserve that for sentencing argument. That's all. Thank you.